Got a product unboxing and review for you guys today. Taking a look at the Melonare MWM-81F. Now, this may look familiar to you if you've seen this video on my channel. I did a review the MWM-41 some time ago. It was a quad channel wireless microphone system that had 4 separate microphones and a wireless unit. I actually really liked that. I thought it was a pretty cool product, but they sent me something even bigger. Now we're looking at the 8-channel wireless mixophone system, hence the 81 designation. I'll look at the front of the box here. It is 5x8, so there's 8 different 5x8 frequencies. We'll take a look, obviously the 8 here, 5 different frequencies for each. UHF, 48 kilohertz, 240-foot range, balanced equalizer tuning, automatic plug and play with the cardioid pattern. Very similar to what the previous offering was, but we'll look and see it together. And here you have wireless receiver, 8 microphones, 16 batteries, power adapter, the audio cable, user manual, and if you need it, a 6.35 millimeter to 3.5 millimeter adapter. But this thing is massive. As usually I try to keep the camera kind of tight. I don't even know how to open this box. I gotta figure out how to open this thing. Try to keep the camera kind of tight on some of this stuff, but this one is so big, I'm basically at the limit of my current setup, but that's okay. We're gonna make it work for you guys here. This video is gonna be broken down into 2 parts. Part 1 is gonna be us opening up the product and looking at it together, and then part 2 will be a test. Now, I did do a wireless test. Turn this around. I did do a wireless test last time, and I suspect the hardware is largely the same. It's just more units, but what I wanted to try a little bit different this time was having multiple microphones set up at a single time to see how easy it is to set up. And I also want to verify that there isn't a lot of crosstalk between the 2 microphones, multiple microphones, and I want to see how well the cardioid pattern works. So this is most likely the cable you're going to use. Pretty much this is kind of like the go-to. However, they do include an adapter somewhere in here. Here it is, probably in this little cutout right here. If you are still, for some reason, using the standard TRS super easy adapter, you can plug in and use that. Don't think most people will be using that for this setup. And then the follow-on is, here's all the batteries. The follow-on is, why do you need a 16 microphone solution? And the reality is, for most home utilization, you won't. Where you're gonna need something like this is at a convention or at church or somewhere where a lot of people are getting together and you want to be able to record audio. This would be good for a band. If you wanted to mic up every different instrument, this would be good for any type of convention or a place where you don't necessarily want to keep going back to the source to swap out microphones. You can just have a bunch scattered around. Here you could see you have the 8 different volume inputs for the 8 different microphones, A, B, C, D, E, F, G, and H. And then you have when it's plugged in, you'll have the various channel inputs on the front. And what I liked about this unit, at least the smaller cousin to this unit, was how easy it was to set up and to verify that you were in fact getting proper audio, which a lot of these wireless microphone solutions, one of the reasons why I actually like Melonare so much, this particular brand, is it made it very easy for you to determine at a glance, without going back to like your mix, to verify you're actually getting the quality that you think you are. And I do like that quite a bit. Pretty standard output across the back here. Okay, so part 2 of that, I'm gonna leave the batteries in there for now. I think I still have the batteries open from last time, but let's go ahead and lift this off here. And underneath is all of the microphones. Like I said, on this test, I want to be a little bit different than I was in the past. So we'll probably fire up a couple of them simultaneously. And they're very easy to, let's see, last one they were color coded. Let's open up a few and see if they went with the same color coding pattern or if not. It might just be based on how you turn them on. The other one was just a 4-channel that was super easy to tell. Here it looks like they're all black. So let me go ahead and plug this in. We'll do a quick jump cut here. Just wanted to open up the contents, kind of show you there's the rest of the microphone, so we're going to go through all of them. I want to see what this looks like when it's turned on and paired, and then we'll do some sound capture on my other computer. So through the magic of internet, we're going to pause right here, and we will be right back. All right, so I was setting up two microphones. I actually noticed how to tell which frequency is when you're actually putting the battery case together. Super easy. It actually lists the sticker inside there. You don't really need it though. I mean, the color coding is nice, but the reality is you'll know instantly on the head unit when you turn it on as you're setting this up, which unit is which. So you can see I turned it on there. Right now you see that none of the frequencies, all of them are off. There's nothing transmitting or receiving. That's because the microphones are currently off. Let me go ahead and turn each microphone on, and we'll go ahead and take a look at kind of what happens to the system and kind of what to expect. So there you can see we got A and C both fired up. Now there's a little bit of information there on the screen as well. You can see I have a full battery. I just put in a brand new pair, and that is what kind of tells you there's your A and there's your C. So pretty easy to determine which one is which, right? Now if I take the A and I'm talking into it, you should now notice over here, you can begin to see the waveform. You can tell how good, if I'm overmodulating, or how bad it is, which is a nice quick tune there. The reality is when you're setting something up like this, most likely you're going to be setting up you're gonna be recording your audio. If you're not, and you just wanna just basically plug an output into here, basically like a really quick tried and true, like a PA system almost, you could adjust everything right here on the fly. And there's your RF frequency. Now I'm curious how far I have to get before this frequency really drops out. Something I noticed before, as I'm trying to like cover it and put my hands around it and hide it, something I noticed before on my stairwell was where I really started to lose signal. So I think what we'll do is slightly different test on this one. I'm gonna record the audio again for you guys, but this time I wanna focus on this, and I think you'll be able to determine how things start to chop out based on this. I think that's actually a really cool feature they added. So let me go ahead and set that up, and we will be right back. All right, everybody, we are now hooked up. You're going to be looking at a little bit of a picture-in-a-picture action. Obviously, I am talking on the microphone, looking down at the unit here. Looks like it pre-assigned some channels for us. So we got channel 2, 8, and 12 all ready to go. And I'm looking at adjusting the gain slightly on the one I'm looking at now. We're going to put this microphone down. We're going to pick up the next one. Now we're on the next microphone. We're going to take a look at that gain. That one seems a lot hotter. We're going to go ahead and lower it just a little bit there. And then we're going to go ahead and do the exact same thing on the third one. Now we're looking at the third microphone, and we're going to do the exact same thing again. Let me adjust and get a little bit higher this time. Okay. Why do I have 3 microphones? Well, I want to test something. The reality is you're never going to talk like this, okay? You're never going to have 3 microphones, or let alone 4 all at once. But what I wanted to see was, as we start to get farther away, if the frequency changes, if things start to look weird on the head unit, if the recording quality starts to diminish, if there's any sort of interference between any of these. I mean, that's what the whole point of this system is, right? You're trying to have 8 concurrent microphones all at once. And if it can do this, which I suspect it will, I would definitely recommend this product. So we're going to go ahead and walk around a little bit, just like we did before. And we're going to go ahead and we're going to just walk through the house a little bit. Obviously, the 240-foot range isn't going to necessarily work with my home setup. I guess I could go stand outside and measure 240 feet. But I've always thought about it this way. If a microphone can get through multiple walls of interference, right? So I'm talking around heavy appliances, behind my refrigerator, behind multiple external walls or internal walls that have electrical, that have copper, and all the different things that are inside the wall, the insulation, the wood studs, everything. If it can manage to manipulate through the magic of wirelessness, right? If it can manage to get a good quality signal now, as I am, let me count, 1, 2, 3, 4. I am 5 internal walls away from where I started.
I am standing in the back corner of my wife's office. Between me and where I am recording is our kitchen. That's our double stove. That's our dishwasher. That's our refrigerator. I'm off to the side now. There's a bathroom between us with all the piping and plumbing that goes into that. So if this sounds good, which I'm still holding all three microphones in front of my mouth like a goober, but if this sounds good, I think this is actually a pretty awesome way to record properly. Now, it's going to be hard here for me to look at it. Right now, I'm on the C microphone. I'm holding A and B kind of in front of me off to the side a little bit, and I want to hear how good C doesn't pick up. And the reason I do that is if I'm in a place where I'm doing like a PA system, right? What I don't want to have happen is getting that residual, like, whiny feedback from itself. So we're going to go ahead and switch over now. Now we're on microphone B. I'm going to hold A and C kind of off to my side. It definitely should still be able to pick up the audio, but I suspect based on the cardioid pattern that you're not going to pick it up, which is what you want. You want these things to have a ridiculously high noise drop off. If you were trying to isolate sound, let's say you were doing a recording with, hold on, switching to A. Let's say you were doing a band recording and you wanted to have different, you wanted to be able to monitor all the different tracks. Let's say you wanted to raise the gain of one thing but not gain the other. This is where you would expect this type of quality to matter quite a bit. And then additionally, too, like I said, if you're using this as more of a PA system, and let's say you have multiple people talking, and one person is standing in line to ask a question, and you have another person on the other side of an auditorium already speaking. And you don't want to have to keep turning the microphone on and off and putting your hand over the top. So what should be happening right now is on my the little picture-in-picture there in the bottom, you really shouldn't see the other microphones outside of A doing anything. So we're going to go back and take a look, and we'll wrap up this video, and I will be right back. All right, so I went ahead and I looked through everything. I played all the video back as I'm starting to edit this. It actually sounds pretty awesome. I mean, for a wireless solution that's able to get that kind of range, to have 8 different concurrent sound sources. Obviously, I only tested 3, but I think the proof of concept is definitely here. I really, really like the look of the head unit. The fact that you're able to make adjustments on the fly is really nice. You know, a lot of the cheaper units just utilize that sound ring, where you basically have a ring on the front and it goes from green to yellow to red. It's nice to have an actual graph. I'm looking at it here. It's nice to have an actual graph that kind of shows you to see that there are different frequencies at play that you can adjust if you need to. The range sounds really good. It was awesome and very easy to set up. So I understand that this may be a fringe application for some. I understand that some of you guys may look at something like this and say, you know, I don't really necessarily need this in my life. It's way too many microphones, and I understand that. And I think if you're in that boat, I would definitely recommend the 41 unit, which I have on my desk over there. That's plenty. That'll get you everything you need to be able to record audio very clearly wirelessly. It gives you a couple spare microphones for backups, or if you're doing an interview type format. Understand the application of 8 concurrent microphones may be a bit much, but again, depending on what kind of audio you're trying to record and what kind of environment you're going to be in. I think this is really, really easy to use. I love this head unit. This is a very, very robust unit for the price, and I think it gets you a pretty solid performing set of equipment that will work with most of your wireless needs. So I'm going to recommend this. So it's the Melonare MWM-81F. I will post a link in the description box below. If you like what you saw, consider checking it out. I do have an audio guides playlist there. Lots of other reviews of the various microphones, including the first review I did of the 41, which I also really, really liked. So a lot of sound stuff there for you to kind of dive into. And I'll lastly close it out by saying that if you are going to be plugging this into a computer, remember you are going to need some sort of digital analog converter to process the signal. There's a lot of really cheap solutions out there that you can get. This will not just directly plug in to your computer. All right, that'll wrap up today's video. Thank you guys so much for watching. Take care of yourselves, and until next time, I will see you guys on the other side. Bye-bye.